Growing up as a Star Wars fan, I used to always think that members of the Sith Empire were pretty cool. I used to always believe that the Sith apprentices, the Sith lords, the Sith admirals, the Sith droids, the Sith troopers were all pretty cool, and in my honest opinion, they had a lot of great characters like Darth Maul, Darth Sidious, Darth Revan, Darth Vader, Darth Malak, Darth Sion, Count Dooku, and the other type of Sith allies that were working alongside the Sith, like the bounty hunters that include Cad Bane, General Grievous. Even though General Grievous wasn't really a bounty hunter, he was an actual hybrid robot alien droid that worked alongside the Sith throughout the Clone Wars, and a lot of other even unknown and unrecognizable Sith members and Sith lords and apprentices like Asajj Ventress, Darth Strife, and a lot of other members of the Sith. I used to always believe that they were cool, in my honest opinion. Despite my love for the Sith, I believed, and I still believe to this day, that the Jedi Order are way cooler and better than the Sith, especially with their characters and especially the stories that are contained around the Jedi Order. But to be completely honest with you, even though I did like the Sith, I still always knew that every single member of the Sith were all assholes, and they all were vindictive, disgusting, hateful, and spiteful people that will betray and will destroy somebody's life just so that it can further their own lives or their own narratives. And even though, remember, a lot of the characters were really cool, like the best Sith of them all, Darth Vader, no one touches Darth Vader. In my honest opinion, he's the best character next to Luke Skywalker in the entire Star Wars franchise. But even though Darth Vader is so cool, Darth Vader is a murdering psychopath that literally kills children. He is a genocidal maniac that will destroy planets. He will destroy civilizations just so that he can show that he is the most powerful Sith member under Darth Sidious. And we also cannot forget some of the great and very evil admirals and generals of the Sith Imperial Army, like Admiral Kareth and Admiral Thrawn. But the reason why I'm talking about the aspect of the Sith, that they are evil people and they are very, very disgusting people, the reason why I'm even highlighting this aspect is because there is a recent show that highlights this aspect very well. There is a recent Star Wars live action TV show that truly emphasizes on how evil the members of the Sith can be, and I really, really like that this show is so authentic to how the Sith members, in particular with the Sith troopers, the Sith admirals, the Sith generals, a lot of the members of the Sith Empire in the show are really evil, man. And I really like that because in the most recent Star Wars installments into the franchise, we haven't really gotten a good project. Sure, yeah, we had the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order franchise, which in my honest opinion is a very, very great video game franchise. And we also had, even though this show isn't really a must-see TV, this show isn't really something that you have to run to watch, but it's an entertaining show. It's Star Wars The Skeleton Crew. Even though these two projects are pretty good, in my honest opinion, we have had stinkers like Ahsoka and Star Wars The Acolyte and the Book of Boba Fett. So seeing that this show, Star Wars Andor, is really showing how evil the Sith can be, and is really showing that every single person that are literally on the bottom of the barrel of the Sith rank or at the top of the top, all of them are all evil, man. And I really like how this show is really highlighting all of this, man. But bro, Star Wars Andor season 2 is so great, man, because they really show how evil the Sith can be, and they are also showing how headstrong the rebels are, because they are facing insurmountable odds when they are going up against the Sith, and they are still trying to fight, especially Andor, man, because Andor, he really had a rough life, man. Leading up to season 2, his life has been shit. Remember, his mom Marva died, and when he tried to go back to at least go to his mom and to embrace his mom again, he couldn't because she died while he was gone. And then that whole Sith gun gunfight happened when they were attacking a lot of the people on Ferris. So it was so fucked up. But when we now get to season 2, man, we now get to the beginning of season 2 is 1 year later from season 1. But there is a very, very disgusting and disturbing scene that really highlights my point that this show really emphasized on the aspect that the Sith Empire are evil, vindictive, disgusting weirdos and disgusting people, man. Because Bix, while she was at that farm, while she was in that place where they were growing crops, even though Bix and Brasso were just trying to lay low, they were trying to not blow their cover, someone snitched. And when Brasso even confronted the person that snitched, it was so fucked up because, bro, why in the hell would you snitch to the Sith Empire about our location, man? But when the Sith Empire, when they reached down and they were interrogating Brasso, they were interrogating Bix and a lot of other people during this simultaneously, Cassian Andor, he was on his way to this location as well. We saw one Sith Admiral. This nigga was a disgusting and perverted, nasty person, or I would just call him a creature, because this nigga doesn't even deserve the right to be called a person. Because when he sees Bix all by herself, he was trying to ask her if she had a husband and where her husband was located. Bix was telling him that her husband is somewhere else, he will be back soon. But this nigga did not listen. This nigga just really wanted Bix, man. So when he came back later again, this dude really tried to force himself onto Bix. It was so disturbing seeing this, man. And when I saw this, I was realizing to myself, wow, this show is not holding back and showing us how depraved and disturbed the members of the Sith Empire really are, man. Because when he tried to force himself onto Bix, I felt like jumping into the TV and knocking him out, man. But this nigga was disgusting. He nearly did it. He nearly forced Bix into doing some unspeakable and some disgusting acts. But thank God Bix killed him, and Bix, she had to beat him up so badly, man. And when another trooper came, she screamed out, "He tried to rape me." But the person was like, "Oh, he's dead, he's dead." But Bix didn't really care, man. She just started to shoot at the other Sith troopers. But thank God Andor, he came in just in time. Remember, he was flying the TIE fighter at the time, and he shot down a lot of the Sith troopers. But unfortunately, during this fight, Brasso died. So just seeing how disgusting and depraved the Sith troopers were to Bix was so disgusting. And also, there is this character called Syril, and Syril in the show, he was an asshole. But the reason why he was an asshole is because the actions of Andor in the beginning of season 1 caused Syril to go down a path of a downward spiral. So Syril, he now lost his job, he lost his status, lost his reputation, because he botched the investigation and he botched the arrest of Cassius Andor and Luthen. So after this, we now see where Syril is at during season 2. We see that Syril, he has actually kind of turned his life around. Before, he was living with his mom, but now he got this new job, and now he's actually with the girl that he was actually stalking, but not really stalking. He was just admiring this woman, and this woman, her name is Dedra. And Dedra, I will get to her later because she is very evil. But let me talk about Syril. And when Syril and Dedra were living together, Syril actually had another job, but this job was kind of a front, because this job had him to be stationed at this planet called Ghor, and this entire planet was being destroyed from the inside out. They were destroying the citizens physically, mentally, and psychologically, because the Sith were using Ghor and many other planets as an entire secret mission in trying to create the Death Star. But Syril was located on this planet, and when Syril was still on this planet, there was an entire riot from the citizens. They were protesting against the Sith occupation. They hated that the Sith were just undermining and were just destroying their lives from the inside out. They were controlling every single citizen, and they were killing a lot of citizens unjustly. So when this entire riot broke out, man, the Sith were ruthless. They were slaughtering every single civilian, every single citizen. Even if they were running away, the Sith did not care. And they also had these giant robots that were just using their superpowered strength in beating up the civilians, man. man. But the reason why I'm bringing up Syril is because after Syril's life was completely destroyed by Andor and he's trying to bring back his life back together, we see a moment that is pretty crazy because Andor simultaneously was on a mission by Luthen to kill Dedra, because Dedra, she is onto Luthen. Luthen really was paranoid, so then he now hired someone, aka Andor, to kill Dedra. Even though it wasn't Luthen directly hiring Andor, it was this other character, I forgot his name, but Andor is on Ghor to complete this mission. But before I continue, I have to say that Syril really got mad at Dedra because Dedra did not tell Syril what she was really doing on Ghor. Remember, Dedra and a lot of other Sith admirals were not telling anybody what their real plans were. But during this riot, we see that Andor and Syril, they actually meet up with each other, and the way that they meet up with each other is during the fight. Syril, he notices Andor and he just goes into a blind ballistic rage. He just tackles Andor, he's punching Andor, he's trying to kill Andor, he's trying to choke Andor out. He has not forgotten that Andor completely ruined his life. So Syril, he is still trying to kill Andor, but Andor, he's fighting back. He's trying to fight back the best way he possibly can after being blindsided by Syril. The fight was very bloody, it was very intense, but Syril was still proving that he was not backing down. Syril was still trying to kill Andor, but luckily Andor, he got the best of Syril. But then an entire explosion happened that caused the fight to be temporarily stopped. But when the fight was stopped temporarily, Syril, he got back up, he had a gun straight to Andor, even though Andor said, I don't know who you are. Who are you? Because remember, in season 1, Andor did not even know Syril. He probably saw him like at least once or twice, but Syril was obsessed with Andor. He was obsessed with the criminal known as Andor. So after Andor said, I don't even know you, Syril stopped a bit, but then one of the Ghorian leaders shot Syril in the head and he saved Andor's life. So this caused the fight to be stopped completely. And this was a crazy scene to see, man, because Syril throughout the entire show was trying to redeem himself, not in the way that you would think. He wasn't trying to do good deeds, he was trying to do horrible deeds for the Sith Empire to redeem his tainted name, man. So in my honest opinion, even though Syril was a good character, rest in peace to Syril, man. But I had to bring up this entire genocide on Ghor because the Sith Empire were ruthless. They were just slaughtering a lot of the civilians and the citizens on Ghor, man. It was so crazy. Ghor was really gory, no pun intended. But bro, the Sith Empire in this entire show were so disgusting and depraved, and I really like that about this show, man. They really emphasize that these people are depraved human beings, man. But let me go and actually talk about Dedra. And the reason why I'm gonna talk about Dedra is because after Syril's death, Dedra, she is still investigating Luthen. Luthen, throughout the entire show of season 1 and season 2, he had this informant called Lonnie Jung, and Lonnie Jung is an actual active Sith trooper or Sith general. I forgot his rank, but he worked with the Sith. But when Lonnie Jung had good information for Luthen, and he told Luthen that he was looking through Dedra's files, he was scavenging through her files, and he saw that Dedra and the entire Sith Empire were covering up all of their actions, because this entire energy disruptor or this energy builder that they were making was a complete lie. Everything that they were doing on Ghor, on Ferris, and on all of the other planets, and they're even trying to go into Yavin, all of this was so that they could create the Death Star. Because remember, Andor is set a couple of years before Luke Skywalker's eventual journey. But when we now look at all of this, we see that Dedra was a part of this cover-up. The thing is, she messed up by having her defenses of her files being so weak so that Lonnie Jung could infiltrate it. But the thing is, man, when Luthen finds out this, he kills Lonnie Jung. Luthen is scrambling. He's trying to remove and delete and destroy all of his evidence. But as he's doing this, we see that Dedra pays him a visit to his store. Dedra is interrogating Luthen. Luthen is trying his best to masquerade, you know, his fake personality, his fake persona. But the thing is, Dedra, she sees smoke coming from the back room, and that smoke is because of the evidence Luthen was trying to bury and destroy, man. But the thing is, when Dedra is trying to arrest Luthen, Luthen stabs himself in the stomach trying to kill himself. So after Luthen tries to kill himself, man, and he's transported into the Sith hospital, we see how just disgusting and we see how disrespectful the Sith Empire are. They are just bullying the nurses, trying to tell the nurses that everything is under a Sith occupation now. Nobody's going in, nobody's going out, and the Sith Empire are just evil. And Dedra, when she's trying to, look at Luthen's lifeless body, and she's trying to tell the nurses, she's trying to force the nurses to make sure that he is awake, because if they fail their job, they could be arrested. And after this, Dedra, she's walking away. But this scene proves that the Sith Empire, they do not care who you are. They do not care about the accomplishments you gave them prior to this. They do not care that you are a dedicated Sith member. They will still fuck you over. They will still betray you, even if you mess up in the slightest. And that's what they did to Dedra, because they arrest Dedra because Dedra, her defenses for her files were so weak. And now the leak of the Death Star has been leaked, man. So they arrest Dedra and they sentence her to an unknown amount of time in prison, man. So the Sith Empire in this entire show are just sick and depraved, man. But bro, this show, in my honest opinion, this show is actually one of the best Star Wars shows I've ever seen in my life, because it really made me hate the Sith, man. They really made me despise the Sith. And all of these Sith actions are just so deplorable, especially the person that tried to rape Bix, man, because that shit was crazy. Seeing Bix so frightened and so scared of her life and what was going to happen potentially to her was so crazy to see, man. So thank God that Sith trooper that tried to take advantage of Bix is dead, man. But bro, it's so crazy to see that Bix, she actually left Andor at the end of the show because she did not want Andor to give up the cause, to give up the mission, to give up the battle against the Sith for her. So Bix, she ended up leaving Andor, but at the end of the show we see that Bix, she is holding the baby of Andor and herself. So we'll have to see what will happen with that in season 3. But the last thing about the Sith that I want to talk about in Andor season 2 is when we see what happened to Mon Mothma, when she had the nerve, she had the balls, she had the courage to speak against the Sith Empire, to speak against Chancellor Palpatine, man. Because remember, throughout season 1 and season 2, Mon has been trying her best to give to the rebellious cause, to give to the people that are trying to fight for the greater good. Even if it means she is doing some criminal acts, she's breaking the law, she's trying her best to give back so that the Sith Empire could at least have a dent in their empire. But things come to a head after the Ghor massacre, after the genocide on Ghor. So Mon, she now does this big speech where she's calling out the Empire's actions that happened on Ghor. She's calling out the genocide. She is trying to give light to this disgusting event, but we see that the Sith are trying their best to end the stream, to end the live video of Mon trying her best to rally everyone against the Sith, man. Seeing the Sith trying to destroy news and trying to arrest Mon just because they do not like anyone speaking up against the Sith is really good to see, because the Sith are evil people. So I liked how they were portrayed in this show, man. And even though thankfully Mon, she escaped due to the help of Andor, and Andor helped Mon to escape to Yavin. Thank God we did see Mon successfully not die in this show. But to see that the Sith are so evil, they're so obsessed with having control over the people, even if it's verbally, physically, mentally, psychologically, they do not care. They still want control. So seeing the Sith scramble and trying to kill Mon just for speaking the truth is peak Sith behavior, man. But those are all the little reasons why I do believe this show highlighted how evil the Sith can be. Even if we're not even talking about the Sith apprentices or the Sith lords, we're just talking about the Sith troopers, admirals, and generals right now in the show. So man, this show, y'all gotta check out this show, man. Star Wars Andor season 1 and season 2 is peak television, man. But that's the end of the video. I'm out. Peace.